So I got some requests to talk about Amari Cooper and Keon Coleman just because waivers are running tonight and just the thoughts about how serious their injuries might be. Let's first talk about Keon Coleman because I do think that's a little bit more concerning. They think that he's got an injury that they have to evaluate throughout the week. So it's not a definite fracture because they would be able to get an x-ray of that. And when you talk about definite fracture, we mean not definite fracture of that radius or that ulna bone or of these metacarpal bones, because those are pretty easily noted on x-ray. But that does make me concerned that they might be thinking about a scaphoid fracture, because a scaphoid bone is so dense that actually the fractures don't show up that well on x-ray, and you do need to get an MRI on it. And if it's not a fracture, there can still be inflammation in the center of the bone that shows up on MRI. So they likely put him in a thumb spica splint, which immobilizes the thumb, and then they see how he progresses. If his pain improves, then it's all good. But if the pain is just not going away, then they might have to do something else for that. The way that they test for the scaphoid for a physical exam is they have you pull your thumb back like this, and there's something called an anatomic snuff box. It's kind of that gap that's formed here. So you push inwards right there. And if you feel tenderness there, then that's a very sensitive test to check for a scaphoid injury. It's not very specific, meaning that if it's not there, it doesn't do well at ruling it out, but it is something to keep an eye on physical exam wise. So overall, the language and what they're saying for Keon just seems a little bit more concerning to me, and I would be worried that this might be something that's going to hold him out for at least a week or two, maybe longer. In terms of Amari Cooper, they're calling him day to day. He was even practicing last week, so I'm not worried about a scaphoid injury for him. There are a ton of ligaments that connect the radius and the ulna together up there, and there's a ton of ligaments that connect those carpal bones, those small 8 bones up there together, and those can get a little bit inflamed, and you can have a little bit of difficulty extending or flexing your wrist. Typically, it's a couple day type injury, maybe up to a week. He ended up being a surprise inactive at the last second this past week, but he's still being labeled day to day. So I'm not really worried about Cooper being out for an extended period of time out of those 2 wide receivers in that Bills offense.